Crusty Old Crow. How you doing today? You having a good day? Isn't it a nice day? It's fall. Those colors are there. You can hear kids laughing and playing in the background. It's kind of got you in that spirit, getting ready for this week where we're going to do that streamathon with Punk with Toys and Sergeant Reds for Toys for Tots. Gosh, I hope you guys can be there. Don't forget Backyard Battlefield's going to be there. October 25th, 7 p.m. We're going to be hopping on there and helping Punk out. And throughout the stream, lots of the guys you recognize will be on there. So I just wanted to get that out of the way to remind you, October 25th, it kicks off. You'll see it on pretty much anybody who does the classified reviews or, toy reviews. It's out there floating. Make sure you go in and support. Donate where you can. Even 99 cents can make a world of difference to these kids. But hey, enough about that. I wanted to, like I said, get that in there before I forgot. Today's video is something different. Today I'm doing a good, bad, and ugly kind of video. And I hope it's good. I hope it's not bad. I know it's going to be ugly. But this one is just going to be how I kind of want to approach figures that have sat in my collection. Either I've already reviewed them or I haven't reviewed them, not going to review them, etc. From all sorts of lines, and I'm gonna just give you my quick thoughts. 5 things, good, bad, and ugly, on that figure that I've noticed. And I mean, good could be good that it was predicted, or good that it wasn't predicted. Bad could mean that it was bad for the figure, for the company, or for the fans. And ugly could mean a lot of different things. It could mean that the premise was ugly, but the figure turned out good, or everything was ugly about it, or the politics, or the development, or the company got ugly about it. It's all how you want to look at it, but really I'm just trying to pick out some different perspectives and angles for us to look at these toys with, because I think we all stare at them on the shelves and every now and then pick up something that maybe we didn't notice before. And that's what we're here to do today. So if you like that kind of video, you know what to do. Like, share, and subscribe. And let's get into today's good, bad, and ugly, featuring my Valaverse figures of late. And in case anybody's been wondering, because I've been with the channel for a while, this kind of review, these good, bad, and uglies, they're not going to replace a tactical perspective. They're just going to follow up tactical perspectives. Or in the case of things that aren't classified, like Valaverse, this is my way of approaching it in a different technique is all. And ladies and gents, I don't make excuses or apologies for this channel. It has been mostly G.I. Joe classified throughout its beginnings, but that's seeking to change as I learn more and more about the toy market and lines like Valaverse, who I've come to like, despite controversies or hard feelings in YouTube dramas that I care little about. I care about these toys. I enjoy collecting them, I enjoy posing them, I enjoy staring at them, I enjoy talking about them, so let's do that. So let's start this one off with the good. And that, of course, is going to be Blowback, who is also known as Adam J. Kent, our sniper with Asperger's syndrome and no prior military experience. And what are the 5 good things I noticed about this guy in particular that grabbed my attention? I'm going to tell you. So number 1 is the dominant eye. With available extra heads in the Blowback kit, you get the single eye closed, which is great for posing him as looking down the sights. It's very much more realistic than what's been available with a lot of other characters that are posed shooting their rifles. However, the reason I really like it is because the dominant eye is something that we are always taught to protect, especially in the case of things like night vision protection. Keeping one eye closed even at night because of things like flares is something that is taught. So now we move on to number 2 of the good. His kit selection worked better than expected. We've seen a lot of snipers and 6-inch action figures of late, but Blowback's simple kit design is superior to the one I found with Hasbro, and how it's locked, how it stores, how it sets up, and what it actually brings to the table, including things like a spotter's scope. So you gotta hand it to him. The kit selection that he has is good to go, and it is incorporated into point little 3. Good little thing number 3 being that belt kit. It's one thing to see hard pack holsters with actual extra mags for guys. It's another thing to see them include things like a Leatherman or a Gerber, a mag light, or even a small little punching knife. All these things going unnoticed because they didn't take the low-hanging fruit and paint crazy silver or anything shiny onto a sniper's belt. Well done on this little belt kit nod. Yep, reprint pieces all you want, but always pay consideration to the character you're trying to portray. And Valaverse did this for Action Force Blowback by paying attention to what they were reprinting with the tactical vest. We've seen this on other characters. It's on one that's coming up later in this episode. But they've paid attention in that the logos have been blanked out. A sniper should never go out with big little telltale signs of exactly what unit sent them. It is giving all the intel away because a sniper is putting himself in a compromising position to be captured every time he does his job out there in the wild. So I really, really like that point. Sure, it'd be easy to print a vest off and just not have patches, but that would cost money. At least know not to put anything on those patches, and that's what I'll give them credit for. And of course, for number 5, we're just going to go with effective camouflage. Whether it's his whole body suit, the extra head features, either camouflaged or a balaclava that's camouflaged, or the ghillie suit, the fact that all his weapons and kit all match out and there's nothing that draws our eyes away. This is a very effective woodland cam sniper, and we've seen other attempts at doing woodland cam that were good, but I do feel this one is superior, and that makes number 5. Now, those were the 5 good. Of course, I have to have some bad. Good news is, because I like this fig, I only came up with a couple of bad for this one. And the first one is the one that you're looking at right now, which is the ghillie suit. Yes, I will concede. Between Hasbro and Valaverse, this is the superior ghillie suit, not only in its design, but it's in its fabric and sizing. It's a great ghillie suit, but it still doesn't really work with the heads that is provided with it because of the obstruction of the radio kit. The headpiece for these ghillie suits do not fit well, and the feathers are not flowing the way a ghillie suit would normally flow, standing up and getting caught in a variety of odd places. Again, superior ghillie suit to what is available on the market for 6-inch line that I've seen so far, but not a great ghillie suit, although I will say the design for it should have worked better, I think. Point number 2 comes with overdoing the cam. The facial cam on this feels very unnatural. I prefer the balaclava head because that looks more natural. I have nothing wrong with facial cam. I think facial cam is critical to this character, but the way this is applied would take a makeup artist very long. Just like with the 60th anniversary Halo diver, whatever, pilot character. It's just far too much cam applied to the face. The application needs to be smoother. Bro, who did your neck cam? Only a couple little things for the ugly that could have been good, could have been bad, but worth noticing. Let's look at them boots. All right, he's got some great jungle boots on there, tied very loosely, extra loose. That's a great detail, but a little bit of paint or dry brushing could have brought out a lot of details on those boots. And I love the tied loosely thing, but where did the strings go? All that money spent on face makeup and balaclavas, and you left nothing for your tendy footsies to hide with. Now, there's things that are, pleasantly ugly, like the fact that it's an expensive figure, but you get your five action points with it, if that's something that you care about. But one of the last things I'll mention under ugly is that rifle case. While that's a great urban rifle case for sitting on top of a building, perhaps patrolling through dense and sparse wood lines and whatnot in your jungle cab and your woodland cam, a hard case isn't really the way to go, cool as it is. It's pretty damn noisy when you're sneaking around and that thing's banging off trees. So if in this Action Force trio we have Blowback as the good, then I have to give you the bad. And in this case, I will name the bad as a character I really like, Gemini. And seeing as I'm saying she's the bad in this trio, then I've got to start with the bad. So what is it about Gemini that I have put on that list? Well, folks, just like most people get a left and a right, I got a couple of problems with the hands here, all right? The very first one is, maybe it's because they're female, thinner wrists, I don't know, but I do not feel secure changing these hands. They are in there so tight. The harder I tug, the more I'm afraid it's going to fracture, and I don't know. So I'm terrified of taking the hands and switching them out, which is something I don't feel with the other Valaverse characters I've been provided so far. And bad number one leads to bad number two, and that's what goes in that hand, because I hate those damn pistols. Don't mind the guns, don't mind the knife. Hate those damn huge pistols that Valiverse does. Enough said on that, because that leads to number three. That big honking hard pack holster. Doesn't make much sense for these operator tape characters, and honestly, it leads to number four, which I'll get into in a minute about what it cost us. But that big hard pack holster is obstructive, intrusive, and quite honestly, I can tell you, as soon as they slide in the vehicles, that precious Vanguard, they know how much they hate that thing. Number four is just, again, a personal opinion on the dissatisfaction I feel when good storytelling and character development gets hidden away by poor layout. Our girl Gemini here, she's got a story on the file card you should read, and I'd love to get caught up on the comics if I could get access. But she's a bullied girl and a combat engineer turned into a Vala Action Force character. She's got this tattoo on the back of her neck, and it is reflected on her vest in a patch, but it's hidden away by this hard to remove vest, and I feel like what a waste of painted talent to put it there. It must have been in there in the comics before they designed the character, because otherwise why not put that somewhere more visible or redesign the vest so you could see it at least. It just seems to really annoy me when I see an artist put in a lot of hard work that gets covered up by somebody else's decision that had other choices. So our fifth and final bad point on this just stems from a personal preference when it comes to these kind of characters, and that's get that identity sorted out, especially when it comes to her MOS. Gemini's an engineer. She's not an infanteer yet. She is decked out like an infanteer with no kit to even reflect that she's an engineer. It would have been nice to see things on her belt that we saw even with Blowback, like a Gerber or a flashlight, a set of pliers, maybe some det cord, maybe a block of C4, some kit that engineers carry. But instead, we've just got your standard operators loadout again. So for Gemini, we've covered the bad that made her bad. Now let's go over the ugly before we get to the good, because there's just one ugly here. It's about that head. No, I don't think Gemini is ugly. Don't give her a complex. It's actually about the gamble of the face sculpt. What you have is a very expressionate face, and it's a very well sculpted face, and I'm loving that hair, but that's for one of the good things. But it's a gamble in that this only tells so many stories. We get back into the character telling her own story, and all I see is a pissed off character here. And in fact, it's the gamble because now there has to be a second headset and accessories kit to promote this character ever changing her mood. Picture your kid playing with this. Picture yourself at age 11 playing with this. And you run up and Condor says, "Good job, Gemini. We killed all the bad guys and not a single casualty. Are you happy?" And she says, "Yes, I'm ecstatic," with that face. And that's the only ugly point about Gemini that I want to bring up. It's not her face that's ugly. It's the ugliness of, if you ever want to have her look any differently, you have to actually go out and order a second box set of some sort with an additional head feature for her, wherein another company like, say, Hasbro would just put in the second feature into the box and let that affect the price. So it's kind of half dozen one basket, six in the other situation when it comes to face sculpts and how it's gone about here. However, on the upside, we've already just sailed through the ugly and we can get into the good. So what are some good things that I liked about Gemini as I looked at her afterwards? They've made no maiden in distress out of this character. Look at those arms. This chick has GI Bro arms. She can throw you across the room if you piss her off. Just like a dedicated soldier who would be, treating their body like a temple should be able to do, female or male. So I really like the fact that what we got here is a powerful female figure that doesn't look overly masculine somehow. Nor did the people over at Valiverse feel like this particular character needed to overcompensate makeup and features of beauty. They gave her a really good set of hair and a good facial expression, and the body was as soldierly as you could make it. And I feel even more impressed that they kind of locked it in with that vest, because not being able to remove that vest prevents conversion guys from actually going out of their way to overly sexualize this strong female character, if you get what I'm saying there. And the number two good thing about Gemini here is that hair. I mentioned it before. You got style and purpose going on here. It's people with long hair know this, and females in the military often have to put a lot of consideration into how they wear their hair, depending on if they're in garrison, on deployment, and what they're doing, if they're on exercise, or just even inside a turret. The braided hair, as opposed to just a single ponytail, is brilliant because braids hold stronger in place once tied firm than a ponytail does. So it's one of those theoretical things. What do you do when you're in the middle of a firefight, you got your head in your sights and your ponytail came loose? It's less likely to happen with these braids. And that's pretty much it for the good stuff going on with this. That's not saying that the bad outweighed the good. It's just I noticed a few things differently. And that's how it goes with the good, the bad, the ugly. It's up to 5, not always 5, guys. So we're going to sum it up with Gemini, and we're going to move on to our next character. And our last character, who of course would be the ugly. And because he's the last and we're ending with the ugly, we have to start with the ugly for our undercover Condor, a man who's become less difficult to acquire, and that is part of the ugly part. Originally put out there as a reward for collecting the Vala points that come with these figures, a throwback to something we enjoyed collecting on a certain line in the 80s. What ended up happening is, for some reason or another, they've decided to just make them regular order and pay stock, no longer needing the Vala points, which is good because that's how I was able to get them, as I have no idea if my Vala points were near enough for this. But it does lend the question, is this a bad precedence to start now? Will Vala points lose their relevance if it's known that if you wait long enough, it'll just come out regular edition anyways? I don't think that's going to be a risk, but it doesn't allow a lot of clarity to be seen in the issue, or to understand what to expect from this toy company and the future endeavors and these Vala points, as I was saying. The number 2 ugly, meaning it's good and it's bad in its own little way, is you can't break or lose little pieces of sunglasses if they never come off. These are pinned to the shirt. They don't come as an extra accessory because guess what? Condor Undercover don't come with much in the way of accessories. But the glasses are there. You see them, right? All right, the ugly point of number 3 is that unpleasant truth that no one wants me to bring up, especially Vala fans, and Joe fans shouldn't be too comfortable with it in the end either. But let's talk about, are we supposed to pretend this guy isn't going to borrow every piece of kit he needs on his mission from his good buddy Chuckles? Because that seems to be pretty much what I'm seeing here, regardless of them being 2 different distributors. This one's a little on the nose, and I'm sorry, but we all have that friend that doesn't have his own gear and always wants to borrow yours. Hey buddy, did you bring an extra briefcase for me today? Hey buddy, what's on those binos? Let me have a look at that. Hey, are you gonna finish that gun? It's all the same. This guy comes with a pistol, a pack, and some hands, and that is it. So the fourth and final ugly point for our good friend Undercover Condor is that face. It's different than what it came with Desert Condor, with the screamy face and the balaclava face. This is undercover face. And how do you get undercover? You stop shaving at some point. So what we got here is some 5 o'clock shadow effect going on here. And in my mind, the reason this is ugly is because it's almost the perfect blend of amazing and terrible. It's amazing in that they really did get the kind of fade and smoky effect of a good 5 o'clock shadow around those facial features, but it's terrible in the fact that it looks like he's been sucking off a tailpipe in a parking lot. But I digress before going over the line with that one, and that's going to end it for the ugly. Only 4 for ugly. Now I'm going to go over the bad. Bad number 1. What up with this shirt? Why the whole slot in the back? Are we expected to wear a backpack when we go out? That was number 1. It's plainly stated. I don't need to go into that any further. That just makes it look like he ripped his damn shirt. And then we're going to roll into number 2. If you're undercover, I don't know what you have against concealed carry when you're Condor, but Condor's big honking holster just does not gel with this whole undercover identity he has to have. The holster, I would have preferred to see Vala make the effort of trying to conceal a gun underneath that shirt that they made sure was spread out nicely so he could move. Keep your dukes up, man. We're going into number 3. Number 3 is those pants. I love those pants. Right all the way down. Great looking pants. Very casual, very tactical, very plain. Love them. Love them. except for when we get down to the ankles, where the ankle rockers are. Now, these unbloused pants now turn into like a set of Neo waterproofing boot covers of some sort, or they're just a good set of 70s bell bottoms modernized for Action Force. Either way, whatever's going on there just draws attention that this is not your casual guy. There's something tactical about him. These are tactical pants, and therefore, I'm not buying this undercover aspect as much as, hey, this is a soldier trying to be someone he's not. So we tell that soldier, keep your guard up, and I'm going to hit you with one last bad point before I move on to all that good. And that bad point is that neck hinge. When you move Condor's head up, you can see that neck hinge clearly. It's an older, larger neck hinge joint. I think there's better neck pieces out there now that they could have done that with and hid that articulation point better. And 4 bad observations or hindsights is all we need for Condor and Undercover here. We're going to move on to the good ones, right? Because why focus on all the bad? There's so much good in all these figures. I'm just going to give you a couple of the one unique one I want to look at and just draw your eyes on. And that is the only one I'm going to mention. The simplicity of this character is outstanding. So what I love about this character when I look back on it is the simplicity of it. By making a really good, unique-looking buck that, yes, it's comparable to Hasbro's Chuckles, sure, but in its own line, it's very unique. They didn't focus on giving him kit that didn't belong there, aside from a over large holster there, and they didn't give him a lot of risky kit for you to lose and regret, which is good. That kept the price down, especially after they switched it out of Action Force points to direct purchase. I think by simplifying this character and making it more accessible, they've actually improved this character greatly, because he was a really good character who I wasn't going to get until they had made him more accessible. So I think that's the best thing going for him, aside from just being a really strong-looking character. And there it is, you guys. The good, the bad, the ugly little afterthoughts I've had on these characters from Valor vs. Action Force, sitting on my shelf for a while. This was the first of the good, bad, and ugly type of reviews that I want to do. And what I've learned is, while doing it in a bundle of 3 did accomplish getting a 20-minute video, I think I'm going to be happier doing these individually. So you guys can look forward to more toys coming in this perspective. I'm still going to have the tactical perspective reviews for Classified, but I'm going to re-review some of them using this format for the good, the bad, and the ugly. And you'll probably see them more on 1 to 2 figures at a time at best, because 3 just took a lot out of me. Thank you very much for your patience with this one today. Thanks for your interest, and thanks for the like, share, subscribes if that was something that you felt like doing. But please don't forget about our stream coming up starting this week on the 25th of October at noon. Punk with Toys. If you hop over to his channel, you'll see me, Aaron the Toy Enhancer, back, and Darren. The Down South 77, the Backyard Battlefield, will be helping out with that. It's all for a good cause. Come on over, tune in, spot. So, if you can give every little bit is going to help that cause. Thanks again, you guys, and we'll see you very soon.